Hello and welcome to my channel. If this is your first time joining me, welcome. Cabo, bonjour, bon dia, and thank you very much for taking time out to come and check out my particular brand of content. And of course, if you're returning, welcome back. I'm hoping that you've enjoyed what you've heard so far and you're here to see more. And I'm getting better at giving you what you want to hear. So gracias and merci. Ekusheo tishikere derim. I think that last one is Turkish, so as always I'm open to correction. From the title of this vlog, it's not really tied to exactly all the things I'm going to be talking about, but very recently someone asked me, so exactly what is your vlog about? And in a long-winded way, I basically said, look, there are a lot of things that happen in the world these days, and not just these days, it's always been happening, and it can cause people to kind of get down, not fully depressed like clinically, but you just get anxious about what's coming, what's been happening, what's not changing, what's changing but not too fast enough, and when are we gonna see the light of day? And it can get a bit much. And I think it's nice to have places where you can go, or content you can access that just says, look, don't worry, it's all gonna be fine, don't stress yourself, and not just words, this is why, this is another view. So that's particularly why. And I myself, it helps to remind myself sometimes as well what it is I'm trying to do here. So in the shortest possible way, it's don't stress, and I'll hopefully tell you why you shouldn't, and when you're finished you'll think it's all right, I'm gonna go with rolling, I'm gonna take it easy, I'm gonna just let it wash over me, and look forward to the week. And it's not meant to be a sort of current affairs type of vlog, but I do like to mention a couple of things that have happened in the world since the last vlog I would have done, just so there is some basis for a comparison to when you're watching this, and just some context as well as to what I'm talking about. So and sometimes I'd mention those things that will get you down, but hopefully some of the lighter things that have happened that you may have missed among the big headlines, And my hope is that if it's something sort of major that you're watching now, let's say you're watching this 10 months from now, I'm hoping that you've seen such a major difference that you think, oh my gosh, can you imagine how that was? Or 10 years from now, so let's say, I guess the biggest news of the day is still COVID, really, and where we are at this time, and I'm recording this on the 21st of March 2021. It says in the description as well, but vaccinations are rolling out over different countries. Some countries have kind of stopped for concerns, just to make sure that there's no adverse effects, but in the UK things are going full steam ahead, and I know in some other countries around, and in some other countries are still waiting for big stockpiles, but the general way is that we're going forward. Having said that, there are some headlines to say that some countries are going to have to go back into a third lockdown because their numbers are rising, and that's a big worry at this stage because we're supposed to be coming out of it. But I think by now all of these health professionals for the different countries are in a much better position than they were before. There might still be some mistakes made, but they're on it, and they have to get help from other people as well. So you get that feeling. There is some politicking going on as well, as you'd expect, because when things go wrong, those in charge are going to be to blame, and that's correct. So they have to also, in addition to trying to do their job, they have to be trying to be seen to be doing the best job as they can. But all of these things can get you down, but that's the way they are now, and I'm not going to go down the road of saying who's doing what or why they should be doing it. But one of the things I did take from, you know, the latest countries that have kind of stopped the current set of vaccinations or current batch, just to see, is there's this thing of, you know, when you're in a crowd, if you're in a party and you suddenly see people start running, it's a joke that people mainly talk about black folks doing it, but I think really any group, you start seeing people running, before you start going, oh, I wonder what's that they're running from, you first kind of run first and then maybe you start looking around, okay, what's the danger? So I think that's what a lot of these countries are doing. So I'm not too down about it, but this is the kind of thing I'm talking about, you know. So if you're watching this 10 days from now, it's very near future, but hopefully we would have started seeing those countries have done some background work with the producers of vaccines and things are moving again. But we'll still be in the midst of it, lockdowns and such like. If you're watching this 10 months from now, so we're talking sort of, you know, oh my gosh, just after Christmas time and such like, you know, I'm hoping that all of this is like a weird, distant, foggy memory and we can't believe what just happened. You know, we're asking what just happened. And, you know, hopefully you're watching this on your phones or something in an airport lounge, having just come back from a Christmas trip or about to go on a cheap holiday because it's right after Christmas, or just out in some, well, I was going to say some bar, but over here in the UK it's going to be freezing. But, you know, there's some people who like to have their drinks outside. They've gone to the pub, stay inside. Hopefully you're huddled up with strangers and you don't have a care in the world. If you're in a hot country, you've just had a bumper holiday season of tourists and your economy is, as they say, showing green shoots of recovery. That's my hope. I think we can look forward to that in 10 months' time. And all over the place, all those people, or enough people out of all of the different jurisdictions that have either had vaccinations or had the COVID and recovered and are somewhat protected, you know, to the point where by then I think everybody will be doing their, you know, analysis of who did what when, and, you know, regular mudslinging and politics that have happened. If you're watching this 10 years from now, first of all, I don't even know if this would be called YouTube, because I think Google might have bought over Microsoft by then, and you know, this would be called GTube, or there'll be a mix. It'll be like Micro G or something like that. I'm not going to go into possibly 100 years from now, but let's say 20 years from now. I mean, I think these kinds of channels will still be around. I suspect that, you know, terrestrial TV would be a very small market, or much smaller market than they are now. But I don't think it'll be a bad thing, because I think a lot of those people would have come into platforms like this. It's entirely possible there's no more YouTube, no more Microsoft. We've all been bought over by some new African conglomerate from the United Countries of Africa, you know. That is my hope. Anyways, I think we'll leave that for another tube. What I would like to see in 10 years from now, you know. But we're not rushing ourselves too forward. I mentioned of some of those bad things that happened. Of course, we're still having issues with kidnappings of children in you know, certain states or in the northern parts of Nigeria. And it's a shame, because there's so much other stuff, so much business is being done in the rest of the country, but that bit seems to be a real thorn. And you know, I'm sure lots of people are thinking of ways to stop it happening, and lots of negotiations happening with the would-be kidnappers and what they want. But one silver lining is the last headline I wrote about the last set is those young ladies who've been kidnapped are safe, as far as safe can go, because I think these groups are not kidnapping them to cause harm or, you know, use as pawns against the government. essentially kidnapping their spouses. But those are the kinds of things that get me down. I know there's lots of things happening, but I think because I've lived there in Nigeria before, even in the north as well, those things are just so... I mean, there's the usual things you get in the West, racism and such like, and I'll go on to the bit of news that happened of late to get COVID off the front pages for just a few days. But the headline was essentially, some in-laws don't like the new girl because they don't feel she's good enough for their boy. Now, a lot of people might say, look, I'm belittling it's a very serious story. But for me, I found it really hard to get behind it, because I just thought it's not a new story. In all over the world, whether or not the women are being treated badly or there's real prosecution. I'm just talking about in the regular families where there's not any major cultural background, where one set of people might hate another set of people or not like them. It's just a thing that happens. There are just some women that come in and the others say, he can do better for whatever reason. So if you're watching this in recent times, this is to do with the British royals and Harry and Meghan. Now, if you're watching this 10 years from now, there'll be royal teenagers around, and they must be getting up to some kind of problems, and we'll all be laughing back at these times when, discussions about whether or not Harry's boy was going to be aligned to be a prince was a thing. But I it's not one things I can get irate about. However, I know that a lot of people felt strongly about how Meghan was perceived to have been treated in general. Let's leave it that way. We're still talking about rich people problems here, so let me leave that there, because I'm not here to judge. I wish I had them kind of problems. There was a more serious side of it. There was allegations that race could be involved, but again, the headline is rich British family who epitomize and symbolize all that led up to and included the transatlantic slave trade, for which racism today is born out of and continuing from, may have racial elements in it. It's sad, it's bad, but it's not like, oh my gosh, although people try to use these kinds of large blankets to talk about these things. They just say stuff like, is Britain racist, or is this place racist? And nobody ever stopped to think, well, what does that mean exactly? Like, are you saying there's institutional racism? Clearly, but the fact that we know that word means it's being dealt with. So at what point in time do you say, okay, it's no longer the prevailing thing? And what about when it happens in black countries? There's lots of discussions for all of that. But the persons like me who live here, and I benefit from what Britain is today, so there's only so high I can get on my high horse. Suffice to say, there are a lot of people who are dealing with things like this, trying to make relations better between citizens in all the countries, and I support those people. And the hope is that if you're watching this, let's take it far, say in 50 years time, and you're just thinking, wow, really? Police used to do that to groups of people, and this is whichever country you're in. That's what happened. If it's 20 years from now, hopefully you've seen real change. It's so few or far between that it's not happening. And this is in any country, because I'm sure there are a lot of black countries where people still complain that, their own citizens are treated badly. Or visitors into that black country will complain that, they're treated as less than. Let's just leave it that way. So all these things are happening in the world, and they can make you sad. So I'll just say that they're getting better. I think that's one thing that everyone agrees on, whether it's just the fact that Now if somebody does you something and you feel like it's because of any particular group you belong to, there are avenues you can explore. There are people you can complain to. This was not always the case, and these things will continue to get better as we go along. So wow, I won't go on any more about this. I guess it was just to reiterate that this is a place you can come and we acknowledge where things are happening that are not great, but we don't let them get us too down about them. So I will end this one here, and then I think in the next one I will talk about some other things that happened that were not quite as bad, and things we can have a little fun with. So it's the beginning of a new week, and if you're watching this, well, on a Sunday, have a great weekend, have a great week. I say this because I haven't actually started advertising this out to the wider public as yet. So you who are watching this now are early adopters, and thank you so much for going on this journey with me. So you take care, and I'll see you soon. Bye.